Just missed my favorite song on the radio. Nothing but news, sounds like a shit show. There are people that are running from the choppers that are gunning. There are people that are choking from the homes that are smoking. We can see the children crying, we can hear the sniper firing. But how the hell am I supposed to care? I got my own damn problems and life ain't fair. Work starts early and the bills keep piling up. So how the hell am I supposed to give a buck? They say the families were hungry and scared, but it was a bunch of dudes with full beards. Welcome your new neighbors, they just ran from the war. They busted out windows and called women whores. But how the hell am I supposed to care? I got my own damn problems and life ain't fair. Work starts early and the bills keep piling up. So how the hell am I supposed to give a buck? Turn the damn thing off, can't listen anymore. Just another headline about some distant shore. My truck needs new tires, the rent is overdue, and they want my empathy, but what am I to do? Pour another coffee, try to numb the sound, while another world is burning to the ground. Maybe I'm the monster, maybe I'm just numb, watching all this chaos, waiting for what's to come. Oh, I don't know. Just trying to get by, just trying to survive. Is there any piece of my own soul still left alive? But how the hell am I supposed to care? I got my own damn problems and life ain't fair. Work starts early and the bills keep piling up. So how the hell am I supposed to give a buck? Turn the damn thing off, can't listen anymore. Just another headline about some distant shore. How the hell am I supposed to got my own damn problems? Life ain't fair, bills keep piling up. How am I supposed to give up love? thing off, can't listen anymore. Just another headline about some distant shore. Maybe I'm the monster, maybe I'm just numb, watching all this chaos, waiting for what's to come. Oh, I don't know. Just trying to get by, just trying to survive. Is there any piece of my own soul still left alive? But how the hell am I supposed to care? I got my own damn problems and life ain't fair. Work starts early and the bills keep piling up. So how the hell am I supposed to give a buck? How the hell am I supposed to care?
Please remember to sign up for our show notes. With Civilization Cycle podcast, you can learn what to expect as society resets. Agriculture, economy, tech, and history all have mappable cycles, and these cycles affect every aspect of our lives. We can navigate the chaos and thrive together with up-to-date news and information. Also, if you like the content we have here on Civilization Cycle, think about fueling the discussions and the show by buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Civilization Cycle. And thank you for all the support.
Innovation through nature, Illuminated Digest balances and supports full, healthy gut microbiome, intestinal wall integrity, and normalizes blood viscosity. Because we hear an enormous amount about people having gut issues and digestive issues. I don't know if it's the modern diet or was what's been used in the agricultural process, but that gut biome is so important to our brain fog that we get and how much energy we have. And a lot of times if you got a lot of bad breath, it's because you got the wrong kind of bacteria that have overtaken the good bacteria in your stomach. It's time to rebalance that back out, especially right now when we might need to be changing our food choices because of all the disruptions that we're seeing across the planet agriculturally. Illuminated Digest, proprietary probiotic blends, enzymes, herbs, and fulvic minerals. Try Illuminated Digest and see how good you feel when your gut biome is in balance. I love the products at Alpha Vedic. You support them, they support us. It's a win-win-win for everybody. And see how much more energy you have after trying Illuminated Digest. That link's in the description box below. Feeling the heat, the exhaustion, the withering, being out in the heat. The summer returns once again. Time to rehydrate. We got hydration that works as hard as you do. Perform Light, got sodium, potassium, magnesium, superfood recovery blend, vitamin C. And as Victory Nutrition International would say, recharge, replenish, recover faster. If you want to support this channel, support our advertisers. Fatigue-free summer, stay hydrated, Perform Light. Click on that link in the description box below. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. Tech difficulty day starting us off. You know, it's going to be an exciting show. We were going to talk about all things economy, how U.S. dollar is failing because the Bond buybacks from the Treasury actually sent our dollar lower. So they're saying we're going to put more money in, which sent the bond yields even higher or lower, depending on how you want to gauge that metric. I mean, if you get a higher rate, that's less confidence in the dollar. You need to pay more for it. So Bitcoin's screaming up, legislation coming in, and everywhere you look across, they're talking about agriculture now. I mean, the crop tours are coming in. We're going to take a look at a few of the farm crop tours that are happening. Looking at about 7% losses in corn in the U.S., 35% losses in Europe. The largest grain loading ports, plural, in Russia have been destroyed by Ukraine. So 1/3 of all Russian export wheat not coming out this year, unless they can reroute it by rail out to another smaller port. But that's like going from, let's say, LA port up to some little fishing village on the side of the, up the coast somewhere in California. It's literally that much different. And literally 100x less they can load at these smaller places than they can the one they built specifically for grain loading. And in Ukraine, tit for tat, they're not loading anything either. And they're down to 3 million tons of production this year, which, again, it starts to signal there's a lot of things adding up here. And then I did that video yesterday about the farmers all just saying, we can't keep going. The prices haven't risen fast enough for all the farm inputs that we put in this year. So there's a lot of farmers considering bankruptcy, which would then put their farms on the open market. And then, who's going to be there to buy that? So many things have happened this week. It's like, we go through months and months and months where not much happens. And then suddenly in 1 week, you get a year compressed of news. And this is what we're experiencing right now. Still battling the detox here. So Ransom, appreciate you joining me. We got a bunch of websites tonight, a bunch of articles. So we just went over 40 trillion. And here's the scariest thing. Like that $40 trillion awareness is now in normie consciousness land. It is on every mainstream publication across the planet. I went to the Sun in the UK, went to the India Times. They're showing it. It's in our own Drudge Report and different, New York Times, and everybody's picking it up.
Yeah.
And they're trying to save everything by buying back our own bonds, and it's sending the dollar lower. It didn't work. We got to buy them back again, which isn't, so it's like Japan. And they're pushing this $40 trillion debt thing out to the general public. So for me, this might be your starting gun warning sign that it's a go, because they wouldn't do that unless they want the awareness out there. And I'll leave it there. But thanks for joining, everybody. Yeah, we had a little bit difficulty. We're going to restream tomorrow night, Ransom will, on the Civilization Cycle podcast YouTube channel. Please join us over there and subscribe. Trying to build our base. And if you have friends or family interested in this, please send them also to the Civilization Cycle podcast channel on YouTube. Oh, that's a big one to start us off with, Ransom. You're going Hiroshima on us.
Well,
that's politically incorrect. You could talk about such a disaster like that to talk about something that's so big in scope. Yeah, Hiroshima big on the intro here.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of big things, big moves going on. A lot of them we predicted. I don't know if you saw in the news there that Israel attacked Turkey convoy, and I was telling you watch out for that. Right as soon as that happens, things are about to get real thick, because they have that new alliance going on over there. So everybody's now racing basically to stockpile all of their resources. They know that this petrodollar reset's coming. I mean, there's no other way around it. And for some reason, the administration acts like, nothing's bad happening. I don't know if he's like cut off. What's going on there? But they're going to go full steam ahead, spending. And then in the real world here, you got the diesel going up, you got gas going up, food is crazy. Everybody I talk to is really, at their limits as far as the amount of money that they're having to put out to utilize society now. And I don't know if you remember, I was telling you that there was a weird thing happening in New Mexico where one power company is buying out another power company. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden they said, remember I told you they didn't have meter readers and expect a big bill because they couldn't check it. So what they've done basically to the entire state of New Mexico is estimated their bill at 3 times the amount. And act like they haven't read it. They have a whole town meeting going on here in Alamogordo, and I'm sure there's several like it across the state. Basically, people are like wanting to riot over what they've got, as far as power bills. Now, look at this is mine right here, and you see the gray. This is the last year of energy usage, according to them, from meter reading. And then you just jump here down to August, and it's like almost 4 times the amount. So this is the bill they sent me, $1,470, and they expect that by August 27th. So what they're telling people is, yes, you have to pay it. No, we didn't read the meter. But you just have to pay it and trust us that we'll fix it. And they're citing the building of wind farms, solar panels, and all this new infrastructure as the reason that they snuck in a price hike July 1st. Without telling anyone, and they're also in the process of being bought out by another company. So whatever fraud is going on right now will just be, swept under the rug, because it'll be a new company, and they're not liable for the things that happened before they took over or during the confusion. But this is happening all over New Mexico. I saw people, complaining about $500 or $600 bills, saying that usually, they only pay like $100. It's a little old lady, watching a tube TV with one light bulb on, no air conditioning, and they're still getting $100 bill. And then all of a sudden they get a $500 bill out of nowhere. So stuff like this is going on, and it just, goes right into
let me
this.
interject there for just a second, because it's things like this where you need to get an attorney, and companies run roughshod over everybody until they get attorneys and they fight it. And then they're like, oh, we were wrong. We knew we were wrong. Okay. And then there's, a precedent set. Right now, they're just counting on nobody going and getting attorneys to fight this, because $1,400, it's going to be cheaper just to pay it than get an attorney. But again, an attorney who wants notoriety, anybody out there listening that knows one that wants to come on board and fight this pro bono, this is a reputation grower for, anybody's business. If you're going to take on this and go against the power company, it's a good one, because this happens so many laws everywhere across the world, in the States specifically, that nobody pushes back, and they just keep going and going and going until somebody pushes back.
And they're trying to convince people that we're using more power. And so I want to show you this right here. Or go back to this. If you go back here last year in July, we were having a heat wave of triple digits, 105. So we were using far more air conditioning at this time than we are now, when it's under 100 degrees. And they're saying, like, look, it's so hot, the infrastructure's stressed. And they're having a whole, like I said, a big meeting. People are talking about 800. I got a $1,400 bill. So these prices range all wildly across the state, but it's literally everyone in the state just got charged this astronomical amount that's not even reasonable. I don't think they can prove it. And even according to their own chart here, there's no way that we started using 3 times the electricity just because they stopped reading the meters. So this is a scam.
Well, they might have to buy it from out of state to bring it in, because the renewables are notoriously unreliable.
Well, they shut down
base load. They need to buy it from somewhere.
Right. Well, this is kind of what they're claiming, is that they had to put all this money into these renewable things that the governor made sure to push on everybody. And at the same time, they shut down all the petroleum-based power generation we already had that gave us cheap and abundant energy for decades here in the state of New Mexico. We're in the Permian Basin. There's literally an abundance, probably for the next 1,000 years, of petroleum-based products coming right out of the ground. But it does correlate to this graph that you have right here.
And is there really abiotic oil theory a true thing? A lot of Russian scientists have been, Russia, demonize them. Well, they were talking about the earth is naturally replenishing. Oil is something like a lubricant for our joint fluids, these sort of things. So there's debate on both sides of the fence of abiotic oil theory, which really ramped up around like 2006 and 2007. Then it kind of went back underground again, but prices are coming back up. So people are, taking different leases on places and drilling down to 30,000 feet, looking in limestone basins to see if there's oil reserves being continuously produced there. But aside from that, we gotten stuck on a reliant system. And here's where the rubber meets the road for this episode is Trump came out. I think I sent you the slide. Trump came out and said, we're absolutely going to put the largest economic package in human history on Iran. And anybody who trades with them, we're going to put another gargantuan, largest in human history on your countries too. The message is clear. If these people, go away from Iran, who's the next? Guaranteed there's a next. Might be North Korea, might be somebody else, going to be a next, and then a next, and a next. So all these countries are going to come together, and they're going to either do some ICE 9 dropping of the bonds and bankrupt America, or something else, because that kind of idle threat has just divided the world into us and them. Us and them. So hold on a second. I got the audio here. There we go. The autofocus is not auto-focusing. So the story is out, and everything's out right now that you're either with us or you're against. It's another George Bush 2.0. This time our dollar is already like against the ropes, getting smashed in a heavyweight fight. It's not going to take too many countries just to either stop buying the bonds or sell them all back. And then if they're on a gold standard, it won't really hurt the currency too much. So this is why a lot of these countries have been buying heaps and heaps of gold. And, we are going to witness this and see this in our lifetime, like really quickly here. It's not going to be 5 years in the future. It's going to be occurring in the next couple of months, which will kind of coincide. Like Ransom, I remember maybe a month and a half ago, I was talking about all these analysts were saying when Bitcoin gets around 74,000, that's the last pump before it drops to its ultimate bottom for the cycle bottom there. And don't get over exuberant around 74,000 to sell everything. We talked about that, and where is BTC right now at 74,000? So we will know in the next week or so where it goes. Does it roll over 2 weeks, because the cycle bottom is supposed to occur somewhere in September. And it would be the same time to wipe out a huge amount of debt and all these other things and then David Rogers' web great taking could apply. And then they can come in with a new digital tokenized system, all in the same fell swoop. Max time from where we sit today to full collapse to everything rolling out, 90 days. So it's not like the old days where it would take 5, 6 years, 8 years to correct. We're talking like 1/4 of a year. So it's way different. Things are moving faster. So just be careful out there. This sloppy, dangerous talk has just pitted the world. Your side, my side, we're going to go at it. There's no winner. It's going to be a Highlander event here. Because if you say, okay, we're going to back off, they're never going to stop. America's never, ever going to stop because the dollar homogeny, the petrodollar is the most important thing to keep our nation. If we lose that, I would say they're going to go to nuclear weapons before we would lose that. You talked about that at great length here in Edon, a couple surgical strikes and whatever. So anyway, we're in precarious, we're in dangerous times. Let's say that. Everything's this is from now to Christmas, it's going to be more change than you've seen in your entire lifetime wrapped up in just a handful of months. In my humble opinion, now you can take it or leave it. Ransom's got a good couple opinions too.
Yeah, this one really, I had this article pulled up here because I had a bunch about the economy and the dollar and whatever. But this one really shows you the plan. And we've been talking about it since COVID. Why did Walmart, the weakest sales growth in over 6 years? What happened 6 years ago? They stopped being 24 hours. They shut all their hours. They fired a bunch of employees. They scaled back their business for no apparent reason at all. And now they're saying, oh, our shares are slumping. It's the worst in 6 years. Well, that's because you guys completely transformed your business model to this lockdown society. So this right here to me shows that the big boys were willing to take a hit in order to be part of the new reset and system. They don't care that their overall growth has went down because they know they're a monster company and they're redesigned for the upcoming transition of things.
And might I say, they also received a $2.3 billion rebate check from the tariffs, which they'd passed all those costs on to me and you to pay higher prices during the COVID time. You know that. Everything went up in price, and that's just the way it is.
And not to mention,
I had pulled up about that.
You remember how they cut the shelves in half too.
Yeah,
They not only cut the hours, they cut the amount of things that you could buy.
yeah, and I saw another one where they're actually shortening the shelves again, not lengthwise, but widthwise by 1 foot across the entire chain. Because here's the article right here, Ransom. Let me share that with you. 1 foot, and that is supposed to make a difference where it's not noticeable, but it will reduce the amount of goods that they need to keep on the shelves. So here we go with the tariff refunds here for you. Let me see if I can pull that down. Higher gas prices bite, Walmart sales growth. But even though they had stupendously undergrowth, 2.9 billion of a tariff refund was included in that. So imagine if they didn't have the tariff refund, how terrible the numbers would look.
Right.
I want to just reiterate what Ransom said last week and the week before. Like, we are not getting any of this money back. And then he says there's arguably a softer environment than there was in February. Okay, well, when everything costs 30 or 40% more, people just aren't going to be buying that much. And then they talk about other retailers too, like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods. They got 331 million back for tariff rebates, along with Target, 994 million, almost $1 billion. Lowe's got $730 million back in the tax refund. Oh, wait, excuse me, Home Depot and Lowe's totally. And I don't see them giving me back because they charged me $2 more for a 2x4, pressure treated. Where's my money?
Right.
This is the whole thing. And
then,
we're never going to get our money back for this. The money is going back to the corporations, which was nothing more than just a giant bailout during the COVID time, knowing that this would be deemed illegal in the future. Like I say, people finally took it to court and they finally had to decide on it, but it was already think tanked out that, okay, it's going to go here. People are going to fight it. When they fight it and the Supreme Court wins, we're going to have to roll back the tariffs. And hey, CEOs, we'll just send all the money back to you. But you can charge all the customers more as much as you want until it gets up to the Supreme Court. So have at it. You can earn extra. And as long as you abide by what we say, closing stores 6 feet apart, all these things, track, trace, app on your phone, facial recognition in the shop, you're good to go. It's one big club.
Right. But my point being that there's an obvious plan that's at least 6 years long. They cut their business, like shot themselves in the foot on purpose. All the stores everywhere, except for maybe some of the convenience stores, but all the major chains, they not only cut their stock, they cut their locations, they cut their hours, they cut their employees, and then came the let's tariff everything and make things more expensive. And then at the same time, you're talking about the dimensions, literally, not only of the packaging of the food, but the aisles themselves, and then the fact that they're moving over to a new whole style of business where you order online, you come pick it up. And we talked about that before. Think about how bad things can get. You think about the 70s and the gas situations and stuff. The difference back then is that we were a much more agrarian society at the time. So people weren't really hungry along with the gas and the other things going up. So they were eating food. I mean, especially people in the country were eating good. They weren't really feeling it. Yeah, you couldn't drive anywhere, go anywhere, but there was plenty of stuff to eat. Now we're in a situation where gas equals food. All of the energies kind of equals food. If you can't afford to pay your $1,500 light bill, guess what? You ain't got no food because you don't have a refrigerator, right? And then at the same time, it's not just Walmart that did this. So you got to ask yourself, like, what was their long-term plan? Were they all told that we were going to get these massive tariffs and don't worry about it? You'll get kickbacks. You'll get to keep it. Just cut everything. We need to move to this more of a lockdown society, less hours, less resources, less availability, and then, basically irritate everyone where they stop going out physically to shop. And then they go over to this delivery system that they're setting up, like Amazon and everybody else is getting the drone licenses to drop things right on your property. I don't know how that's going to work out for broken items per se, but the whole thing's moving to that style of things. And the people in the city, almost all of them now, they're not even going down to the bodegas or supermarkets or anything. all of it's DoorDash, all of it's Grubhub, all of it's ordered, all of it's delivered. A lot of the restaurants in New York City and other places like that do their own delivering because they get enough business of people that don't eat and I mean cook and don't store their own food. So they're completely dependent on the system. So if power goes out, if the prices skyrocket, what are they going to do? Start getting angry at the restaurants that they eat at and the delivery fees and etc. You could tell that they're literally trying to price everyone out of existence while at the same time diminishing the amount of resources you can get and the availability of it to use.
Yeah, and you have to think about too, when somebody's going to instantly move out because things went south. If they signed a lease in New York City, you need first months, last months, and first months. Or no, it's 3 months total deposit. There's a first month, the last month, and the security deposit. They're different. Most times it's just first and last is your security deposit. But in New York City, they go first month, last month, security deposit. Let's say your rent is $7,000. You have to put up $21,000 to move into the apartment. And if you walk away from that, you don't get your money back. So how many people are going to walk away from 20 grand in deposits? That's a hard one to walk away from, That would take, a minute to build back up to pull cash after you paid all your expenses, after you worked, to get 20 grand under your hood is a little more difficult than it was like pre-COVID, where there was extra jobs, extra side hustles, extra work, things didn't cost as much. You could squirrel away a little more. But now it's just like what you make, what you pay. And I don't know, Ransom, it just seems that the world we're moving into. Oh, and remember, that was my thought. I live in this little town in Tennessee. There's like 1,000 people there, and the closest Walmart is like 25 minutes from us, and it's a small one. People that visit go, "Damn, dude, that's more like just a convenience store than it is a Walmart."
Right.
So I remember during the time of COVID, there were 19 pickup lanes, 19. During the height of COVID, they only had 19. But just before I had left to come out here for a minute, they installed 50. More than double. So that means that they're expanding and everything's going to move to ordering online where you come in and pick it up.
Absolutely. Or they drop it off at your place.
Too remote. Like it's, I saw some of these Amazon. Yeah, I saw we're still too, as the crow flies, we're like 10, 12 miles away or whatnot.
Right.
The crow flying is going to get stuck in the mountains somewhere, attacked by an eagle or a turkey vulture. You got to realize there's like wild predator prey birds out there that look at that thing going and go, smaller than me. I could eat that thing.
Not this guy.
Yeah.
There's no birds out there this big.
Well, I didn't know they were that big, man.
Yeah.
I thought they were about half that size.
No, man, we're delivering all the packages. We're converting to all robots, and we're talking about jobs and all of this stuff from trucking to cabbing to anything that has to do with the highway or driving or delivery. It's all going to be taken over by electronics and drones because they're already doing that. And then
put egg on my face.
And then you got law enforcement moving in the same area. And this all points to the reconstruction of everything. And we talked a lot about the air traffic controllers. Well, this is the reason. They're about to, infest the skies, basically with this net that keeps track of everything, delivers everything, polices everything. You thought that was creepy stuff over in China at the beginning of COVID when they were telling people stay in your homes, put your mask on, all that stuff with the little drones. Now we got the same basically thing right here. I mean, but this is even different. This is, they'll just hawk you down at 60 miles an hour with the drone, take a photograph of your car and the license plate on it, and then you'll be waiting, for a nice reception by a bunch of law enforcement that just happened to mistake your car for another car that was caught on a flock camera. But they're for sure that it's you, and you can see how this is going to turn out bad. And people think it's going away.
And then the leveling of it too. It's like a layer cake. So we have the ground-based 5G, 60G tower network coming in, and that goes up to about 300 feet. And then everything you're talking about, drone surveillance, would go from, let's say, 300 to 2,000 feet. Then above that, we have the whole Starlink system, which is another whole layer. It's like they're putting an electromagnetic grid across the planet so no other frequency can pop in here. This really feels like that for me.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people were telling me, hey, those flock cameras, they don't do all that stuff that you say that they do. They just get the license plate. No, they're going to, every year will be new generations of these flock cameras with new software and new sensors. They're going to be taking everything. They're going to scan your car. They're going to scan through your car. Not only that, they're going to use facial recognition. They're going to do the plate readers, and they're in the near future. If your car doesn't match the information on the tag, it'll be immediately flagged that this car that's driving out, because it's an electronic car, it's a computer, it's connected to the Wi-Fi. I mean, not Wi-Fi, but the 5G towers and all that. It has its own cellular source, and all the new cars, they're basically cell phones. They have cell phones, even though they won't let you use that cellular to do anything yourself. It works for the car, so you have to plug your own phone in to get any of the apps to work or anything. But it has
Wait, let me
emergency
add one
services.
thing on there. In many a jurisdiction, the police were now flagging people using flock system for unregistered or I wouldn't say unregistered, like your registration ran out. Like, let's say you got to register your car in August and it's in September. They were pulling people over for unregistered vehicles and giving them like a $290 fine on the spot for unregistered vehicles using the flock system. Nothing else wrong, not criminal, nothing. Oh, I was meaning to go down there. I just been busy with the kids and I meant to get down there next week. Like in the old days, unless it was like 3 months out or something, police would always give you the pass and be like, all right, just make sure I'm going to give you a warning. If we pull you over again, we're going to cite you. But, you got to get down there this week and take care of that.
Yeah,
Not anymore. It's just like you're out of registration. Here's your ticket. This is the biggest money-making thing. And then, again, I read that article and I actually hyperlinked into a bunch of the articles going out. This is a scary one. So there's a whole parameter behind it. So like, let's say they're looking for a white pickup truck. And then obviously Flock will narrow it down to all the white pickup trucks. And then they could look for an Indian girl wearing a red shirt. So it'll flag everybody that wearing a red shirt in a white pickup truck and narrow that search down. And then it'll come to an Indian girl, a white dude, some black dude, an Asian girl and driving around. But they can do it by the color of your clothes, your ethnicity, and then your car, which means they're able to look in. And then I saw these really, really tall ones that are being installed where it can actually look down on your lap and see if you have a phone on your lap, because that counts as using your mobile phone while you're driving. And that's an instant $500 ticket. Just sent to you. Not even, there's no police pull you over. They're looking down from like 30, 40 feet up on this pole down into the car at the angle where they can see if anything's on your laps.
Right.
Which is ridiculous. I thought this was to catch criminals, not to round up and squeeze everybody for the last time. This is what dying empires do.
You're the criminal. That's
You're
it.
the criminal. Everything's a criminal. Their dying empire tries to squeeze every last cent out of the citizens because they know they're in a collapse mode and there's just no way to hold power. And it's, how many times have we seen this in history, do you think?
Right. And then the thing with this is this whole article is about the number of prompts that are put into the software to flag them. So, think about a few years back, the Patriot Act, probably right after 2001, and all the silly things that they added in there that was a potential, something to flag about someone paying for coffee with cash, wearing hoodies, missing a finger, bumper stickers, things like that. Now, think about this. You got an AI that's programmed with all of those same kind of things. This guy's wearing a backpack. He's got a hoodie on. He's here. He's there. And then with these people going down to cut these things down, obviously gives law enforcement the, reason to go protect their stuff and use it more. It proves that it's needed the more people cut it down, right? So they prove that what they're going to do is they keep coming up with new generations of these things, and they'll be higher and higher and out of reach, and to the point where, just like they said, they're not just, chasing down your car. They're flying over your house. They're telling the city about your code violations, whether or not you built a new shed. If there's some suspicious activity, will be, alerted to the police. We're well beyond this whole idea of having kind of a privacy thing, because that's an era, a bygone era, and people just don't get it. Everything in your house is spying on you. It's admitted. It's not a conspiracy theory. The refrigerator, the washing machine, the microwave, all of that stuff is working in tandem to report to somebody somewhere or, something, all of the little details about your life in a little file. And now they're just spreading to the cars. That's all this is. And it's really scary, because think about it. If you got a robot that thinks you're a criminal because you wear a backpack and you had a hoodie on, or whatever the stupid reason is, you can say goodbye to this whole idea. You remember when they were crying about people being profiled? Well, what do you think this is? This is the ultimate profiling. There's no profiling better than this ever existed on the earth, except for
You just weren't
maybe, you know,
profiling the black people, man. That's
no,
the whole thing.
this is
That was the whole. We were
profiling.
profiling us. You're profiling. You forget about all the other races that are looped up in this net here, and you want to have the little violin harpy, like, oh, we're so oppressed, whatever. But that was your whole. We're getting surveilled, and we're the ones who are under duress here. We're the ones that are getting profiled. No, you're not. You're not special, dude. Really, shut up. Everybody's getting surveilled. So your little high horse of what you're trying to hold from 150 years ago, take down your pedestal, put 50 cents in the time machine, and bring your ass up to 2026. Seems like you're stuck back in the 1800s, man. Not like that now. So chill out and come up to the modern world where we're all surveilled. So any of your violin harp bullshit, I'm not even playing your games anymore.
Well, yeah,
So that'll offend some people.
it's
I
definitely
saw
been
your
a
head go
joke.
down. Your ass was like all hiding. Shit, did he just say that?
No,
Yes, I
it's
did.
been known. It's like we didn't learn anything from Edward Snowden. Now you got all of these police across the country being busted using the flock systems to spy on their exes and look at people that they don't like extrajudicially, if you want to put it lightly. So the spying has now come down from the very top all the way down to your local neighborhood, where even the local and doesn't this remind you of a form of government and setup that we already know about in
Yeah.
the Eastern realm, where there's like a block captain that reports to the people that are at the police station, and then you got your organized your what do you call it, accepted or official organized crime that's allowed to operate, but everybody else gets spied on and snitched on. And it's West Germany, or East Germany, excuse me, where 70% of the population was aiding. Now they don't need that. Now it's just 95% of your technology is doing it for you. And then
Yeah,
at the
same
same time,
I lived in some large buildings, and every time I would either come or go, they would instantly write in the notebook. Like I had my own little thing in the notebook, right? And here's what really irked me is like they would come by once a month and check my visa, although I had a multi-year work visa, and they knew that in their notes that my visa is good for the next 2 years with extendability because we did some business over there. And they would come every month. We're doing a visa check, but they would show up with like 6 dudes at the front door. We're doing a visa check. Did you not write the notes down from like last month when it said my visa is still good for another like 18, 19 months? Oh, knock, knock, knock. Did you not write it down for my visa was good for another 17 months? Like, come on, really, you're bothering me now. And they kept coming. Even though I would be like that rough at the door, they would still come every month. And whoever would come in the building, they need their ID. Can't just be accompanying a foreigner into a building. You got to show your ID to come in with a foreigner. And it's all like that. They call them little big head men where, they got power. They never had power in their whole life. And suddenly they get this power over a building, over people wealthier than them, and they have this, I wouldn't say unlimited, but enough limited power to ruin your life if they want to. And they can call the mafia to come and beat you up, and they can do all kind of stuff. They can send reports up, and we think he's a criminal and these kind of things. They can make your life miserable. So sometimes they're referred to as like the toilet washers. There's like different slangs for the people that are in this position you just referenced there.
all right. Yeah, that whole realm is crazy, and it's an unstoppable train. It's just that we're going to have to learn to live within it with counter technologies, which, by the way, are not illegal yet because they haven't been invented. But slowly they'll, it's a complete battle. It's almost like spy versus spy, through the 50s, 60s, 70s of the little gadgets and stuff that they would keep. There was like a little intelligence race of now they can listen through the wall. Well, we can put this, it'll block it. Well, now they can get through that. Well, we'll just jam it. Like it was a whole arms race within that. But besides that point, and I'm not going to say with this article here that, I told you so, but we did mention it, that there would be probably some severe flooding headed Hawaii, and that if you didn't take care of yourself, no one else would. And it looks like that you might get a second round of that. So, if you live in Hawaii, hopefully you weren't one of the ones that were flooded out. I saw some pretty gnarly footage of stuff going on, but it looks like you're going to get hit by round 2. And, kind of closing the hour out, I was going to ask you what you thought about the year of the 7-point magnitude earthquakes. I mean, how many more? There was another one, I believe,
Yeah, it
today
was
in
just another one
Peru.
day before yesterday in Indonesia yet again. I mean, it obviously shows solar activity is driving something, and we're at a double pincer here. So we got the magnetic field decline, which has been measured even through NASA and European Space Agency. They used to put the data online up into 2016 with this website maintained by NASA called SWARM, SWARM, and it was the bevy of satellites that all the space agencies shared to get their geomagnetic data on where there's a low magnetic field on the planet, like the Southern Atlantic anomaly, and then how much it moved. And they would like update this thing every 5 years, world magnetic model. But they had to do a couple emergency updates back then too, where they didn't wait the full 5 years. They did one a year after, and then they did another one, like I think it was 3 years. Don't quote me on that, but it was definitely not at the 5-year window. So with the magnetic fields moving and it's weakening in areas, that allows the crust to move too. And this would explain the large quakes and the volcanic eruptions. This is time immemorial. You can go back anytime we come into really low solar activity that moves jet streams enough to dent and reduce global crop yields. They always talk about massive volcanoes and earthquakes occurring with this. So the one thing is it just the bending jet streams and the moving precipitation, or is it, excuse me, the volcanic ash that gets up, and it's a subset, and these two are always coming together like beer and pretzels.
Yeah, man, that's what you need, some beer and pretzels right now, man.
It's super dry. I've been sleeping with aircon on.
Yeah,
Generally, if I do, I keep it at like 26, 27, but out here, they're like, oh, no, it used to be at 24, 24 and a half. I'm like, oh, that's real cold. You walk into the room, you're like, ugh. I'm like, can we turn it up to like 26 and a half? Because I could really feel it.
Right. Yeah. And then look, here's some more. The Amazon empire over here in Vlad. They're saying Vlad's cash crash, the suicide drone onslaught shattering Putin's Amazon empire. Because, they want to put up all of these drones over there too to deliver products, not bombs. The thing that I'm really tripping on the escalation of this is that, according to Russia, they're admitting that they do have plans on and pushing into Europe now. Then you got what's the chicks, the girl there that's threatening Japan now. Let me see where they have that.
I don't know who that is or what.
Here we go.
What little theater actor has come in? Oh,
we're going to immediately annihilate and attack.
In South Korea or Japan?
No, they're going after Japan for whatever reason here. But this is China talking right here. Anyway, this is not them. This is China talking. They're making, they just completed their little island that they're claiming they might, launch their invasion for Taiwan. So they're done with that. They're increasing their amount of AI, basically large drones, which are underwater naval vessels with warheads and guns and things like that on it. And they're just building this stuff. They're doing what we did in World War II, but they're not even at war yet. And North Korea is jumping on the bandwagon. Also, they want to make more bombs, more missiles, more everything. Yay!
I wonder if she held a rose, if it would just wilt in her hand. She looks like one of those evil characters like Matilda or something out of one of those children's ice movies or something. She has a very dark
yeah, she looks like a stone cold bitch there.
Empty human container kind of is where I would look at that, something like that.
And, pretty much that's the story around the globe. Everybody's preparing for World War III. But back here, we're just all tripping on that our whole money system is just collapsing right before our very eyes.
Oh, wait a second. What was our total last week when we did the U.S. debt clock?
It was 39.
Remember our total? I want to throw it up here, what the U.S. total was, because I remember we had the U.S. total. What was it last week? 9? What was it like?
39 something there.
Yeah, it was 39, like 80 something, and it just clipped over into the next 800s or 8 billion,
right?
Or 800 billion and 8 billion or something like that. It clicked over, and now look, it ran up 200 billion, and just since we had this last show here, which makes sense. They're talking about every 5 to 6 weeks, we had another trillion. So you saw it here. We just did this last week. If anybody in the chat can tell us and watched our show, what was the total last week? It was 39. I think it was like 39,808 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it ran out. But we're at the end. This is why Trump is making the ultimatum. You either stand against Iran, which means really standing against China and Russia and all these other nations, African nations going to the gold standard, Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Or we're going to attack every single one of your nations. I think this whole economic thermonuclear option is going to do more damage to America than it ever would to any of those other countries out there. You can't tell me that 50, 60 countries coming together can't outmaneuver the U.S. in terms of, all right, everybody sell 10% of your treasury bonds today. Like the entire globe's currency markets can't drop unanimously at 10%. That money's got to go somewhere, right? But the dollar would be hit crushed crazy, and maybe they move it over into gold. But imagine if there's a coordinated plan across 50, 60, 80 countries at one day. Not ICE 9 where they dump everything, but can you imagine a coordinated effort like say, you know what, Trump, you can't threaten us. You threaten us, we're going to do this again. We got the stalemate. You're not claiming the Strait of Hormuz, bro. That's ours. And better pack your asses off back home with your half-sunk carriers and an angry crew on board that hasn't been fed except spam for like months. I don't know. There's something nefarious going on here for them to come out. And again, all these things are coming in tandem. Like we tried to rescue our own dollar by saying, hey, we're going to buy back our bonds at 2 billion plus 2 billion. And they're like, that's like a drop in the bucket. It did nothing but do more damage than good. They try to prop up the market by saying, yeah, we're going to move without Senate clarification on the Clarity Act. And we're just going to pass our own legislation, which buoyed up the markets. But then at the same time, they talked about new stablecoin legislation. I have the article. We'll get to it when we come back. All the new stablecoins issued in America are going to have to be backed by treasuries. So there's your need. They need this bill passed to create the artificial demand for the treasuries versus the treasury buying back our own debt. If they have an external buyer, like all the stablecoin issuers in the United States and other Western nations, then they can issue stablecoins as long as they hold bonds behind it. Tether went first out into the gold. They don't want you to hold gold. They only want you to hold treasury bonds. And that's going to be in part of the new legislation. I don't know if they're going to ask Tether to unwind part of their gold, but this is the direction it's going. And yeah, please join us on the Civilization Cycle podcast YouTube channel. Please subscribe over there. I know a bunch of you said, hey, I was subscribed. I got unsubscribed. Can you please go back, click that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and also the Civilization Cycle podcast, civilizationcycle.com. Throw your email in there. I'm going to get on the show notes after here. So we have a show, and then I can wrap those up. 10 bullet points of what we spoke about tonight. But I will come back at the top of the hour, unless I can find the article. And everybody's talking about Super El Nino suddenly, too. And have you noticed that? Let me see if I can share this article here with us, just to take us out. So Jeff Currie, like legendary commodities trader, like you got legends in different spaces. So like Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway on the equity side. Jeff Currie, commodities side, equally is like, wow. So you don't get invited to this guy's dinner table unless you're, at that upper, level where you're making 300 million a year kind of thing. So here's what they put out on at least their feed of where we're looking, and they're calling for a super cycle. Now, the reason I would even bring this to your attention, the chart goes from 2007 way on the left over here. And remember, 2008 and 9, we had the commodity super cycle that took us up into $147 gasoline. Copper got expensive, everything got expensive, and then it crashed. Boom, and we had the great financial crisis after that. Now that's the top of it at around 200 during the great financial crisis and the lead up and the super cycle boom. Look where we are now, and they're predicting that thing's going up to 800, double where it is now. So these guys are all in on commodities, copper, gold, and silver. That's their main calls. And why would it be? Because, well, we need the copper for the AI data build-out centers and stuff. So, once you see heavy hitters like this going all in on just strictly the heavies, and when I say the heavies, just commodities. Yeah, commodities are the only asset class that wins on both sides. Structural case commodities, turbocharged, scarcity in the world. Like they said we've come past the era of abundance, and we're now in the era of scarcity. So I'll leave you with that there. The illusion of abundance is likely behind us, as said on CNBC. So anyway, Ransom, I'll send you there, and let's head out on a break for a minute. 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
Please remember to sign up for our show notes. With Civilization Cycle podcast, you can learn what to expect as society resets. Agriculture, economy, tech, and history all have mappable cycles, and these cycles affect every aspect of our lives. We can navigate the chaos and thrive together with up-to-date news and information. Also, if you like the content we have here on Civilization Cycle, think about fueling the discussions and the show by buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Civilization Cycle. And thank you for all the support.
Innovation through nature, illuminated digest, balances and supports full, healthy gut microbiome, intestinal wall integrity, and normalizes blood viscosity. Because we hear an enormous amount about people having gut issues and digestive issues. I don't know if it's the modern diet or what's been used in the agricultural process, but that gut biome is so important to our brain fog that we get and how much energy we have. And a lot of times if you got a lot of bad breath, it's because you got the wrong kind of bacteria that have overtaken the good bacteria in your stomach. It's time to rebalance that back out, especially right now when we might need to be changing our food choices because of all the disruptions that we're seeing across the planet agriculturally. Illuminated Digest, proprietary probiotic blends, enzymes, herbs, and fulvic minerals. Try Illuminated Digest and see how good you feel when your gut biome is in balance. I love the products at Alpha Vedic. You support them, they support us. It's a win-win-win for everybody. And see how much more energy you have after trying Illuminated Digest. That link's in the description box below. Feeling the heat, the exhaustion, the withering, being out in the heat. The summer returns once again. Time to rehydrate. We got hydration that works as hard as you do. Perform Light. Got sodium, potassium, magnesium, superfood recovery blend, vitamin C. And as Victory Nutrition International would say, recharge, replenish, recover faster. If you want to support this channel, support our advertisers. Fatigue-free summer. Stay hydrated. Perform Light. Click on that link in the description box below.
And we're back in action for the second half of Civilization Cycle. That sounds pretty good. Peach ice cream, huh? Yummy. Anyway, let's move right into here as we get back and talk about how everybody's broke. Walmart posts slowest sales growth in years as Americans tighten their wallet. And they're saying that, they were worried that consumers might be cautious even if their household balance sheets seemed healthy. But this might be why everybody's tripping. And this is something that I've talked about for a long time, that everything is run by AI and people are just not understanding this. So even when it comes to, gaining wealth, those that know how to use the AI are becoming a lot more wealthier. A new force is increasing inequality in America. Evidence is mounting that artificial intelligence is helping the richest people and cities pull further ahead than ever before.
Wait, Ransom, wait. I thought it was the inequality was because of the color of your skin. Now you're telling me it's AI? Come on, man. You can't bait and switch like that.
Well, it's money to pay for the AI.
The inequality is the inequality, man.
Isn't it so weird that all of these non-real entities require so much money to do stuff? I mean, like, think about it. It's almost like when they came up with the version of, God in the church that's really bad with money. And so you have to, you got to give the church money because God's bad with money. Well, not really. I'm kidding. Obviously, God doesn't care about money, but it's kind of like that now. It's these imaginary agents working to make our life better, and they just need all this money. But they don't exist, and they literally are earning money. The AI itself, which several countries have passed laws allowing them to make money, even though they're not people.
Yeah, I think it's just nothing more than a wealth transfer, really. I mean, disguised as something else as we come into this, well, new phase of the movement of the old system, the SWIFT system, traditional banking rail, like legacy rails for finance, into this new tokenized system, because the AI agents are already set up for the new tokenized system. So they're allowing them to bring so much value and money into that system already that the old system is just going to go poof. I don't know the reason, but it's going to go poof in one night. And then the new one will be there ready, set up. I got the agentic agents, or however you say that. And then we got the whole system. The DTCC is fully live coming up November of 2026, which makes me know that the collapse is between now and the middle of 2026. It'll be over because their entire system goes live. And the whole point of that is to give liquidity into the world anywhere at any time to prevent any collapse. So you can't sell something and then still go through a collapse of the product you're selling to prevent a collapse and still have a collapse. You know, you see, like it doesn't work both ways. So if you just look what they're saying, one thing. If you look what they're doing, completely a different one. But they're trying to get us into this new world, and they're pre-priming it. Like, say for a bath, for example, do you just turn on the water and jump into an ice cold bath? No, most people would jump out and go, what the hell is that? But if I can add a bunch of lukewarm water to get you to like nestle in there, easier.
Let's see here. Oh, wrong one. Hold on, I have to address this here. Someone said I look like Robbie Williams.
You do, man. Sing us a song.
Oh, I thought it was the soccer guy.
Coming up here, yeah, in November. All the Civilization Cycle podcast live shows of the music that Ransom has been creating himself and composing and putting together. That you're going to sell it in a CD. I forget how many songs you told me it's going to be, but that's your baby over there. So please, once this album comes out and drops, it's going to be the best of the best in the music with conscious lyrics that explain the state of our world with hip beats behind it that can be played anywhere and it'll blend in and it'll be like, whoa, what did he just say? Like that kind of song is the theme of the album. So look for that coming up in November.
I hope you guys aren't talking about this guy. I don't look like that guy. All right, you got to clarify in the chat. Who are you talking about? Robbie Williams? I hope it ain't this soccer player guy, because
no, it's the Angel guy. Angel. So I forget how the song goes, but he was famous for the Angel song.
No, but I did want to get back to that
back in the day
AI thing there, because this is basically what you were saying is the claim was, right, like Sam Altman says, the chief executive of ChatGPT, if I could talk right, that he's called the artificial intelligence an equalizing force that will collectively, you love that word collectively, I'm always scared of that term whenever it's used, but whatever, collectively lift us all up. But and then right under it says, but evidence is piling up that the AI boom may instead be widening the gap between Americans' economy, aristocracy, if I can talk, aristocracy, and everyone else here.
Hey, tongue-tied.
But here it is right here. Look, the energy market rising. And, I just showed you my own bill there. The energy market is rising and the crack is spreading. But why is that? It's the same thing that PNM is saying.
Scarcity, man. Scarcity.
Well,
the oil producers are getting paid more to crack jet fuel than they are to do diesel or gasoline. So obviously, what are you going to do? I'm going to produce a ton more jet fuel. Even the CEO was saying we're going to, as much jet fuel production as we can. Obviously, you can't refine a whole barrel into jet fuel, but as much as we can squeeze out and convert a couple, of those gallons from diesel or a couple of those gallons from gasoline back over into jet fuel, we're going to do that. Right. You're on your own over there. Don't care about your harvest, whatever.
Yeah, and then how we're talking, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's never going to happen," and stuff like this. I keep going back to this because Puerto Rico is in the United States, and I realize there's a weird, dynamic between us and the island Commonwealth. However, the idea that right here in the U.S. people can't drink it's like Flint, Michigan. We're supposed to be a superpower. We're supposed to be moving into the golden age. And yet there are places you can't drink the water still, or they don't have water.
Here, I got you. I was actually going to load this one up here. Survival mode, Indiana residents. This is in Gary, Indiana, one of the poorest cities in America. They had a storm go through there. Okay. It's not an ice storm. That's what kills me. It's Mississippi. They had already power back on in under 7 days and the biggest ice storm in almost 180 years. It's in the middle of summer, bro. You don't need your protective gear on. You don't need to be working in below zero temperatures or below freezing. And I can't believe it's still 9 days in. That's ineptitude. That is just bad management. That is theft. The money's not there. So, you see what you get, what you pay for is all I'm going to say. Kind of like that. You described, like, we got 2 places in America going on the same thing. Like, will there be a third? Just the question.
There. Oh yeah, these guys. And it seems like, miraculously
the summer ticks took over.
Yeah.
We talked about this too, man. We were saying there's going to be a massive tick infestation across the U.S. We had talked many airplane dispersal, box dispersal, drop box dispersal, types of ticks that are not in their normal range, that suddenly there's like, hundreds of thousands of them and they're not normal range.
Right.
We talked about this, like 3 months ago.
What happened? I had another one on here about all the great stuff that they're giving us. So like there's like 15 new, well, not new. A couple of them are kind of well known, like Lyme disease and this alpha-gal syndrome that's been hitting the news there. But a lot of people don't know that there's like 15, 20 other new viruses and pathogens that they're discovering with these bad boys, and that they are moving west into areas that they don't normally live in. And you got to ask yourself,
do you think they've been tweaked?
That's kind of where I was going to go with that. Is it's hard to believe that they just all of a sudden evolved to do new behavior. And I'm sure you've seen the parasitical ticks, the ticks that bite on the other ticks that are already, sucked on an animal. And then you have this new behavior of aggressive ticks that literally are trying to chase you down because you're lunch, man.
Well, what would that do for you as a home gardener? That would scare you and your kids from really going out and like wild foraging and getting up in the forest and things. That's a dissuader. Like great white shark, I swear Jaws was meant to like keep people out of the water so like private beaches could have more like swimming space, because everybody's afraid to go in the water for like a few years after Jaws until we really learned about great white sharks, right? It's like you put your toe in, they're going to come on the beach and grab you. But these scare things that I think that's the main thing. Is if I was going to make people get more reliant on the system, I would put a predator out there, like releasing 100,000 Bengal tigers in the forest. Like, bro, I am not going into a forest with 100,000 Bengal tigers. Okay, how much you pay me? I'm not going to do it. It's just that dangerous. Oh, and my kids, what if they get sick? Or health insurance. Health insurance gone up. Car insurance, auto insurance, home insurance. Your water bill's up 30, 40%. Your electric bill, well, you're experiencing something different than we are. We're only up about 30%. So you can see this happening everywhere. It's just this continuous milking of everything you built up to this point, however old you are in life. It seems like they're targeting a lot of people with homes, so that would be the older generation. So if you're, let's say your property tax goes from $1,000 a month to $12,000 a year, then what are you going to do? Okay, I had a $1,000 tax bill. Now I got a $10,000, $12,000 tax bill. You're going to put it on a credit card and you draw interest on that? Come on. They're going to price us out of existence here. And that was a good slide. And I wanted to, put that one up, and then we'll come back to, what do you see? I'm just asking everybody out there, please just take a look. Like, what do you see? The chart starts at 800 AD, way on the left. Drought area indicated by that center line. Above the line, drought. Below the line, wetter, like more moisture. 1321, spore minimum. Wow. 1620, 1630, Maunder minimum. Wetter. This one is kind of a little bit of the, let's say, random, because 1815 to say 1825, we had the Dalton minimum, and that took things to the dryness. Again, the obliquity, our magnetic field. There could be these overlaying cycles that one's in play when there's a certain magnetic field state, and once that magnetic field state declines to a certain percentage, then another set of variables take over on where the jet streams get pushed, where the wetness and where the dryness flows to. Now, there's so many moving mechanisms. That's why, I was looking at the models of change, and you're talking about quadrillions of computations to be able to get an accurate model in real time, like literally every second rerun another quadrillion or 5 quadrillion, whatever it is in the Earth's atmosphere, and have monitors on the ground level every, like, say 3 feet apart, up at head height, 2 meters. Then you got to stack the atmosphere all the way up with those monitors across the planet, oceans, everything in real time. And they want to tell us this here. What I see is a a magnetic field change that is now the same mechanisms that formerly caused wetter conditions to turn us into drier conditions. And might I I wanted to throw that article up here for a second. Let's see, come on now. Why am I having so? I got too many windows open, Ransom. You know that happens. You know it does. All right, so this is the biggest story on the planet that nobody's covering, really. This is the food supply coming out of Russia's largest export grain terminals. They're so damaged, they're not coming back for years, plural. So 1/3 of all of Russia's grain comes out of this facility, which was all the oil terminals and the storage facility. Obviously, they got ships coming in of like massive proportion. They have a lot of bunker fuel and diesel fuel storage. Those all went up in flames. So there's really no fuel supply for the ships to come in. The loading docks, the cranes, the warehouses, the silos, conveyor belts, all that was destroyed to such an extent, and it's not going to be repairable. I mean, it didn't go to smithereens like, we see in some buildings in New York that went to dust, but, close enough. But here's the thing. There's multiple shocks converging all at once here. We got the disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. We got the El Nino risk, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We got the adverse weather across the agricultural belt, and we'll talk about that with the crop tours coming in. And then if you look here, tighter supplies disrupt shipments during the region's peak export season. See, they hit them right now at peak. Like there's no way for them to reroute except by train. And they're going to a much, 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 much smaller port, like literally 100 times smaller. And there was another one that was 80 times smaller than what they can load here. Then they got to run it by train, which is really expensive. And the ships are already backing up in these places. So the name of this place is Novorossiysk. Novorossiysk. You got to do that Russian accent on it. It's in the Odessa region. So they've been going tit for tat. So we're not going to lose completely 1/3 completely of Russia's exports. They're going to get it out in different ways. They're going to go by truck or rail, but it's not going to be 1/3. Not. So this creates a huge problem. And then Ukraine also, they used to export 30 million tons of grain. They're down to 3 million grown. I've seen some estimates around 4. But let's say, I'll be generous, say 4 million grown. Well, none of their ports are active either because, well, they're almost smashed to bits. They're talking about this Black Sea corridor here, and now the Bosphorus Strait's getting cut off. You got, Bulgaria and Romania on the left trying to play neutral parties, come in and load here. We're going to try to get some, now think about that. They're going to try to run Russian grain, which they can't because it's sanctions, so they can run Ukrainian grain across Ukraine all the way down to like Romania and Bulgaria and try to load into some of the ports there. What do you think that's going to cost? And how much can you really get out?
Yeah, that's ironic that the numbers you're giving there, because I was just watching the guy from Russia talking about how they were going to cut 25 to 40% of all of their export grains. And not only that, they were going to really lock down the energy sector going over. So what the guy was expecting is by December, Europe's going to be begging and begging for food and energy from Russia. And the whole dynamic will change then. And so
did you watch that interview with Jim Willey where he described that Europe's going to get so bad on energy and food, they're going to actually ask Russia to help them out. And Russia will come and save, and then all the propaganda will go away.
No, I didn't get a chance to watch that. The guy I was watching was that Victor Bout guy, the old gun running guy that got held by the United States for a long time, and then he got traded or released or whatever. That's what he's saying. He's saying that, yes, they are going to invade if Europe keeps acting that way, and that there may be no way to avoid war with them because by December, Europe will be, terrified about the amount of migrant crimes, no food, no heating. They're describing hell on earth in Europe this winter. And, that's not even the weather outlook.
Yeah, it's the actual production outlook here. I'm trying to add a slide for you over on Telegram. Yeah, and everybody out there, please join us on Telegram, telegram.t.me, over there on the Civilization Cycle, Civ Cycle. You can join us over there. We try to put up different and interesting articles here that are talking about some of these same issues that we get on here. So that last video was called Empty Fields. There you go. Because we are coming to a point where the crop tours are experiencing something significant. This is France's latest. They didn't put out Germans at the same time. I think they didn't want to scare the market. So they're going to stagger these releases here. That's at Agrité Pro from France. And that, Ransom, I just sent that over in Telegram, and you can take a look at the red numbers there. This is occurring in every single nation across the planet. It's not just exclusive to France. Australia's struggling. They were down some 18% on their wheat production. India is struggling on rice and wheat. They missed the monsoon. The monsoon just didn't arrive this year. China, which is a major wheat grower, they've had typhoon after typhoon after typhoon. Their croplands are underwater. I mean, literally underwater. They had to release some dams so it wouldn't overtop and like wash away cities. So they did all these releases into the farm fields. And then we in the U.S. and Canada and the United States, we got, they're looking somewhere at 75-year lows on wheat, maybe 80. Seen some estimates, 90-year lows in America and Canada. And then we jump back over here to France. Thank you for putting that up there, Ransom. 2025, 26, left side where the words are wheat, durum, wheat, barley, corn. That's from last year. You need to skip over to the right side of the chart. Now, this only brings us up through July. And a lot of estimates are saying it's been dry, never kind of got better. So these numbers will be added to in the red and the negative. Corn, 35% down. So borders, they don't have big fences in the sky. And they're like, okay, well, the rain's going to go over there now. Everywhere's experiencing this. The grain crops are getting smashed. Durum wheat, 17% down. Barley, 7%. Corn. What do we got? Soybean seed. Well, that's for the next year because they don't use GM in a lot of places there. The peas and the potatoes are down also. Some, I think it was 24, 25%. You can't see that, or can you? But this is what's occurring at the moment. Put that in perspective of all these things going with our economy at the same time. They're trying to save our dollar from full collapse. And nobody in the rest of the world wants to play with the dollar anymore. We're kind of out on our own. This is why Trump was so ferocious in going, we're going to put the biggest economic sanctions package ever in human history on you if you disagree with what we want to do with the dollar. All right, and then we got the federal government outlays. What do we got there? Interest in defense. Interest finally eclipsed defense. And they say by 2027, middle, somewhere around July, August, about a year from now, that the interest is going to eclipse Social Security. Or was it Medicaid? I don't have the chart available. It was one of those two. Maybe it was Medicaid, wasn't Social. That's bigger. We got all the bond rates in the entire planet going up, which means nobody trusts anybody. So I got to offer you more money to take my debt. Do you think it'll be worth 6% later on in 20 years or 30 years from now? You think that'll be enough to cover the inflation? No, not even a chance. I mean, so smidgenly, like 3 years of that in America is 6%. We get our money stolen every year through inflation. You can buy 3%, 5% less what you could last year through inflation. So we saw the same thing in 2008 and 9, just before the subprime collapse. All the bond yields in the entire planet went up like that, but they went higher into the 10s. That was a signal, everything collapsed. So we are kind of at a 2.0 here. So just ask yourself logically, like if you're president of a nation in a collapsing currency, people don't trust your word anymore because you went back on what the word was for holding treasuries. I mean, what's your option? The world's abandoning the dollar. And when they do this buyback thing here, our dollar goes lower on the index. So you tell me, what's the solution? I don't know, Ransom. You can give me an idea here. Because these numbers are just going to keep going up. It wouldn't surprise you if wheat goes up to like 70% by the end of the year or something. Because the prices are atrociously low right now for the farmers. Like they got incredible inputs.
Yeah, it's kind of I mean, it's weird to me because, back in 2000, I was talking about the debt and where our taxes go and all that stuff. And we're like 30 years later, it's the same exact program. Hide the money, rob the money, move in, to areas to make money using the military. I mean, basically that's our MO. But this time it looks like everybody's just scrambling around for the Great Reset that they planned, and they're doing it. It's just who comes out on top here. And, with that article that I was showing, AI, is what they're using to kind of swindle the money.
Yeah.
I mean, because other people can't pay for the processing and the whatever. So, you know, you got stock traders. The whole index is ran by AI. I mean, the whole thing. There's very few people that even know the inner workings of how it works anymore.
Yeah, the micro trades on 1/10,000th of a second. So this comes straight from Yahoo Finance, from Bassett himself as his press release after that. That buyback did nothing except take the dollar down, and we're right back kind of where we started. And, you know, it's just going to continue in this doom loop here, at least according to them. Their words, not mine. So the more they buy, the further our dollar goes, the more people lose trust. Then what? So we got very few options right now to try to keep the dollar intact and keep the oil. Like Saudi Arabia is they're moving away from the dollar. They're moving over to gold, and the triangle of trade with Turkey and Pakistan. India will be right in the middle.
I mean, if they can build a new reliable trade network over here as far as food goes, that we basically had in the past when we were buying and selling from the countries, their food, their bananas, their rice, their tomatoes, avocados, all that stuff. If we could straighten that over here, then we'd be doing good, and we wouldn't have to worry about that. The problem is it's just not looking like that's a real option for the Americas over here. I mean, you could talk about all the farmland and the not grown crops, and there's so many other things, the fertilizer shortage. But when it comes down to it, there's areas that we get a lot of food from that are just in complete chaos right now. Not unlike what's going on in the Middle East. I mean, they don't have as big artillery, but there's still the combat happening. I mean, these are the people that are fighting to control the cornfields, the avocados, the agave. I mean, you name it. They're trying to take it. They're trying to run it. And, will the United States go ahead and partner with these guys like they're doing in other places? I mean, look back at Afghanistan. We partnered with farmers there too.
Yeah, because I kind of remember back in around 9/11, those guys were the bad guys, right? Again, the bait and switch. Like, how did they convince somebody that you need to give up every liberty to go fight these bad guys? And then open up the country, let everybody in. It's an equal world in under 25 years. It's just astounding the amount of media control that switches people's narratives. Oh, no, they're not bad. You can't talk bad about them. We got to welcome them all in. Wait a minute. Whoa. 25 years ago, we sent armies over there to stop them from coming over because they were such a threat to our country. And you want to bring them in now? Like, what? It's like this with everything. Like this with everything. Let me, I got Uno Mas here for you on the, where to go?
I'm not talking. No, I was going to say, you sent me this video with all these people just jumping off on the boat, when there's some kid out there that literally gets jumped on by one of the guys that jumps out of the boat.
Yeah, right. You saw that too, huh?
Yeah, I loaded that one and the one that you sent me with Dan Dix.
Yeah, that was over in Spain as well, in the southern part of Spain. So you start to look at that and say, I don't know. What's going on over there?
Mira cómo se van a tirar todos.
A little bit.
Agua.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah. Now watch how this, instead of,
Ay, se
like in the
meten
old
con
days,
la-
we
con
went
la-
out and just like tried to stop them from coming in, grab a baseball bat or whatever you got, a pole from the umbrella. But if you hit one of them, now you're the bad guy. You're going to jail for like 5-10 years. Could you try to stop them from swimming in? Those poor refugees, they're all men of fighting age. I can't believe it. Look how terrified the people on the beach are.
Right. Yeah,
They're running for their lives.
completely
Grab the
nuts.
children.
Well, and it's crazy. And then they try to shame the people that live there, like their families, they're hungry, they're starving, they're running from the war, which is ironic.
It's all men. There was no families. It's all men.
Yeah, it's all men, because there's a war coming. I mean, especially in Europe. And how is Europe going to fight a two-front war? Do you think that those 50 million Muslims that are intent on conquering are all of a sudden going to be peaceniks when Europe actually does have a war with Russia? What do you think that they're going to be doing? They're going to be sacking the
They're just
place.
going to try to take territory. They're not going to side with anyone. They're just going to take territory like they did in the Barbary Coast. And I encourage you to look up this whole slave trade with the Barbary Coast. Everybody's focused on Africa, 1600s, 1700s, America. Drop it. You need to be focusing on the Barbary Coast and how violent those pirates were that ran around. They had to live like 50 miles inland because they would get scooped up in sea raids. Sea raids, 50 miles inland from boats full of people from like Libya, right? Yeah. This is not a new thing. And then they were all, what'd they do? They all got in shackles and they went down in the Middle East and were sold. So why don't we talk about that chapter of history, because they are going to be running Playbook 2.0, because it took 800 years to get them out of Europe, if you didn't know that. Been doing a lot of research on this stuff. The food famines make people past the angry point that pushed all this social like construct and niceness passed into us, them, and then the real fighting starts, and it's good for like 20 years. Whoever's still around, they get their entrenchment, and then they try to grow again. And it's all dependent on food production or how much not food production. I don't think it's going to be.
Well, you notice there's not a bunch of flock cameras down there on the border of the U.S. There's no, mounts of flock cameras there on the beach, is there? They're not trying to track those guys. And that's funny because I watched a little bit of that Dan Dix video, and that's basically what they're talking about, tracking everybody. Who's who, what they do. They're on lists. And that's in Canada. You know that they're doing that here. I mean, we have a long history of making lists.
Yeah, but you think about that. All right, I want to throw something that goes in with this, but at the same time, let me get this supply alert off of there. How much do you think it's going to cost to retire in a country? This is another thing that not a lot of people are looking at, because what are we told the whole time, Ransom? Save your money. If you're brave enough, you can go out, you can go to these countries, and you can retire at a fraction of what it costs for America. Like, look over here, America, $738,000 average, not exceptional, average, just for you to stay there and soak and suck out every penny you have until your last breath to zero. That's, $750,000. But if you go to other places like Indonesia or India, I wouldn't even move there. You couldn't pay me to move to India. And Afghanistan, look at that lease cost. Well, of course, Pakistan and Afghanistan next door. I mean, who would in their right mind want to move to Pakistan for retirement? I mean, I guess if you're Muslim and you kind of blend in, but white dudes, no.
I don't
and
know,
then $620,000 for Australia if you're going to move there. So look at some of these South American countries. We've been built on this dream. Move to this place. It's only going to cost you this much. You're going to be super cheap. It's going to be easy. You're going to live the lifetime. You're going to drink wine and good food and villas and awesomeness every day. But
I guess
if they take all these places offline, then what?
Is this after inflation? Like in 20 years, like where $20 is really $200?
February 2025.
Think about that. Looking at the U.S. there, I just need another $730,000 and I can retire.
Yeah, right. Nearly there, dude. Just keep Jayo. Keep it going.
Who are these people retiring with that much? I mean,
they had a house. The boomers that had a house. They had some, stock options they got for working at a company back in the day. They kept rolling over the interest in anything. I know some people who did Coca-Cola rollovers. And back then, Coke was like $1, like $1 Coca-Cola share. They're on 90 now. So they would get like, 5,000 twice a year. So they get 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. But then they would get the dividends from that and they would roll it all back in. So back then it was like 10 cents for a dollar share, 5 cents. But think about it, if you had 100,000, you got an extra $5,000, they buy more stock. And they kept rolling this for like decades and decades and decades. So $1,000 investment at $1 Coke right now would be worth approximately $5.5 to $7 million, depending on how you re-rolled those dividend payments back in and bought more Coca-Cola stock. This is how they have so much money. And then they got in the neighborhoods cheap. They got a house cheap. My parents bought their first house. I think they said they paid like $14,000, $15,000 for their first house. Like, when my mom didn't work, we stayed home. We went to school, got back. I was a little more like, I guess, genteel without all the brainwashing. And it just took one mom to keep us and one dad working. And that was it. We had all the food we need. I remember going to a store. What's the name of this place? Cool little local supermarket. We get like $100 of groceries. Damn, dude, that thing's like heaping up. You got stuff under there. You got to carry bags out. I remember, I forget the name of that place. It was real cool. And way down at the end of the road where there was a T-junction. And A family could live like that. That's how they're able to accrue so many resources. Today, no way. No way. Take $1,000 investment and say 1980 in Coke, you'd have $5 million now, and you could borrow off of that. That's how crazy it's gotten. And think about all the things through time too, like Apple stock, Netflix stock, Pepsi Cola stock, any of these like behemoths, mining stocks. They were really cheap, $2-3. I remember when Yahoo was $2. I was thinking, shit, I should buy some Yahoo, but I didn't. Decided to party.
That's what
that night could buy 10 shares of,
I wish I could go back to the 80s and
a Yahoo. Throw it at. Call me an idiot, dude.
I would just say you could drop your paychecks right into Walmart back in the 80s, man. You'd be looking nice right now. And all of these other companies that popped up after it, if you'd have known about, if you went and told someone in the 90s and you said, you know what, in 40 years, just invest in everything that's, flying and delivering and is digital and everything. And they would think, oh, that's all nonsense. That's not going to work. I remember when Burger King first started taking credit cards and everybody was like, well, that's not going to work. How are you supposed to get your change? And, how do they get it right away? Like people were amazed that you could now swipe a card and take your money. And now it's even easier than that. It's leaving your account before you even look.
Cash back, my friend. Oh yeah, I'll take 20 out.
And then this thing,
the world we're living in now is definitely changing. The whole point of this world we're in now is to extract all of what I just described, that wealth out of those people.
Yeah.
Bring it back and have, hey, everybody start even. Like think about a kid who's 16 years old today, a girl who's 25. I watched a bunch of videos and they're like, we don't have anything to look forward to. You guys used to look forward to getting a house, getting a family. If you did the right steps, you invested. Like you guys used to do the barbecue weekend, talk shit. That was what you used to live for, and everybody did it. Like they're like, today, there's nothing. What do you look forward to? Higher taxes, more inflation, more track and trace. Like these younger generations, like there's nothing to look forward to. I'm going to buy crypto. So a huge amount of money is going to go into crypto, especially when it runs up next. As people see it and go, I can make money there.
And I was going to play this Dan Dix thing and I only watched just the first beginning of it. I figured I'd just watch it with everybody else. But just the idea of these lists, you got to wonder, like, obviously our show, we talk about certain things and we've known in the past, like you specifically, even attacked by pretty good media corporation, just specifically naming you and attacking you and things like that. But now they got little lists.
Vice News.
Right. And now they got little lists of groups of people. And what's weird is if you're looking at kind of the political landscape, there's these little civil wars and arguments going on, and they're putting each other on lists. So everybody's getting segregated even in the supposed two-party system to where there's like 14, 15 different groups with all conflicting ideas, while the elite just steamroll ahead with all their agendas. They have everybody petty infighting about nonsensical things. Who said what with their opinion or who has proof, when we all know there's some very, very big conspiracies out there that have turned out to be true. And that's one of the biggest conspiracy theories out there, is that the theories out there are just conspiracies, right? So time after time, we just keep uncovering that this, that, and the other thing is not how they portrayed it. So really, it's kind of surprising that anybody's surprised that we're in the situation we are right now, because in the middle of the Obama administration, I think everybody was wise to the idea of all of these future programs that were coming, the digital ID, the track and trace. And we were talking about it in the conspiracy theory communities, and everybody was like, oh, you guys are a bunch of nuts. We fast forward, another administration or two, and it's all factual. It's all fact. And now you got the president of the United States on one channel talking about, well, he needs to learn about the data centers and get a really good opinion. But I showed a week before that, he was already telling the public, you need to get over it. You need to, be happy about it. It's going to make us money. It's all good for us. You guys are thinking about it all wrong. The problem is that money ain't actually coming to the American little guy. None of it is going to. None. All you're getting is a bill. That's it. Bills from here on out.
Yeah, and if they do decide to use the 401ks, as was referenced by many people, their words, not mine, again, to prop up the industry and super inject capital so we can build this thing out incredibly fast, they're going to raid people's 401ks.
Right.
Like for me, that's not your money. That's my investment. Oh, wait, it's in a thing. It's the great taking. Oh, it's signed off. The Dodd-Frank Act. Oh, these different things passed in 2009, 10, 11, and 12. Allow them to control your capital. You don't own it. And very rarely do people get this actual paper stocks. I don't even know if they issue them any longer. I remember my grandparents had a drawer full of the Coca-Cola stocks.
Wow.
Now, the reason I know about Coca-Cola so heavily is my grandparents used to invest in that. Yeah. So they would take loans off of it. So at the end of my grandpa retired early as a water engineer. And I was like, Grandpa, how'd you guys, I thought you had to work till you're like 65. And he goes, no, Campbell's soup stock and Coca-Cola stock. I started getting those when I was like 20 years old. And I would take part of my salary in Coca-Cola and Campbell soup stock every year. And then I would roll that back in. And it's like, you don't even need to do anything. You just hold it until you cash it out. And then they'll show you how many times it's split, because it's split a bunch of times. That's not just the dividend that came in. Like Coca-Cola split multiple times. So if you started with 1,000, that's the whole thing. Why you have so much money now? Because you literally might have 30,000 shares because it split so many times. And then the re-rolling of the funds in there. But again, I was too young to understand it. I was like early teens, like 12, 13 years old. I just didn't get it. But I wish I would have paid closer attention, because I would be on the Amalfi Coast right now sipping some sort of lemon spritz for the sunset.
Well, just imagine if you could tell yourself to go back to the 80s and become a carny for the specific purpose of designing the rides to collect all of that silver. You imagine how much change they spent that they didn't even think, in the future, I need to just save all this silver out here. It's just coming free, and they're fleecing each town. And then, I showed you a while back that little advertisement for here. So now I know there's programs where companies are going around town to town, offering not to buy or to sell you things or nothing. They're not selling. They're only buying silver, collectibles. All the collectibles that they want are all stuff that is in the arena of, really high resale, like silver and other stuff. And they're not going to pay you what it's worth, obviously. They're going to downgrade the worth of your stuff, but you're going to get a free appraisal and the same day check. They'll scan, your little code and get your money back right now.
Yeah. And just for FYI, they usually try to go about 10% or more down from the spot price. If you just got like a silver bar from Engelhard, like say you got 10-ounce bar, price is $670 today. They're going to be like, no, we can give you about $600 for that. But we don't know if it's going to go down in price tomorrow. So they try to play that excuse. So just, if you don't have to part with it, I wouldn't. And that's the thing. I'm wondering, Ransom, around your town, is there just less silver coins that are coming through the stores now because everybody's filtering through there looking for the sale? And then like after they go, more silver coins will come out into the cash register?
I actually think the vast majority of younger people had no idea that there was literally treasure in the change. And the reason I know that is because my son works in retail and he collects it out of there. So he's constantly seeing people bringing in all of this old change that was obviously saved by somebody at some point for the future, and they just have no clue. But after these programs go around advertising, hey, you might have a lot of money hidden around your house, that's not going to last very long. So all of that is kind of evaporating. So that's going to become more and more rare to just come across change that's silver and, pocket it because you know what it is, because it's all being scammed up right now.
That's another move to get that kind of freedom out of circulation, literally. So if you were advanced enough to know that the next downturn, people would start to use silver because we're coming into a digitized, tokenized economy. Silver and gold still work. So would you not try to remove as much of it out of the hands so you could track the new purchases of people? Like if I go online, I used to pay cash for silver, like where I would get it from, and there was no receipts. No, I mean, they gave me a receipt for purchase, but there was like no name check and a phone number and garbage. It's like, I got money, I want the silver, thanks. But if you ordered online from anywhere, like JM Bullion or Acmex or anywhere, your credit card's there. They know how much you bought, how many ounces you got, what the address it got delivered to. So I do believe there's a multi-pronged plan to take out the wild silver and then replace it with the tracked and traced silver. Because if they want to confiscate, which they may, I've seen a lot of people talking about gold confiscation. That's why you want to hold the Eagles or something that's in American mintage. Like they might take your Canadian maple leaf because it's not American mint. They might take your Philharmonics because they're not American mint, but they can't confiscate the American minted coins. There'd be so many lawsuits that it would just stop in its tracks. So I've heard many people say you either get antique coins, pre-33 coins like that are graded in those plastic cases, or you get American mint issued gold, and everything else trade in, transit, and you got to get all American issuance. So coin, they call it coin of the realm. So if you're in Europe and you're in Austria, you're going to want to move to 100% Austrian Philharmonic mintage. And if you're in England, you're going to want to move to 1,000, just 100% Britannia mintage. Everything else you got to get rid of, swap it over, and get the coin of the realm. And apparently this has already been pre-planned, and a lot of people talk about it once they come to confiscation. Is it bullion? Gone. Is it overseas mintage? Gone. Coin of the realm. Coin of the realm.
Wow. That's if you don't get put on a list. So I was going to play this.
You will. You already are. If you bought gold or silver on using a credit card, you're on the list. They know what you got.
Right. Right.
We're looking for the Philharmonic. Sorry, dude. That took all that stuff overseas. It sells really good in other places. We use it to travel with.
Right. So here's this video that you sent me for Thursday here. This Dan Dix talking about the lists.
New records have just dropped, and they confirm what I suspected all along, that they didn't just freeze bank accounts. They built a blacklist of Freedom Convoy supporters, names, birth dates, and phone numbers. And then they blasted it out to thousands of financial firms across the country and beyond. Blacklist went to thousands. According to Blacklock's reporter, new records show a federal blacklist of Freedom Convoy sympathizers was privately circulated to thousands of corporations. No account to date has documented the consequences for individuals named under the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act by a cabinet order subsequently ruled unlawful. There was no verification. The Freedom Convoy blacklist didn't stay inside a handful of banks. It got blasted out far and wide to thousands of financial firms. Ontario regulators alone circulated that list to between 1,000 and 2,000 brokerages and other companies, with no restrictions on them sharing it further. Nobody even knows how many people have copies of Canadians' personal info sitting on their hard drives. This is the same list the Trudeau government cooked up when they invoked the Emergencies Act in 2022 and started treating peaceful truckers and their supporters like terrorists. Names, birth dates, and phone numbers. The RCMP compiled it all and then emailed it out unencrypted. They froze $7.8 million across 437 accounts in crypto wallets. And according to testimony, there was zero independent verification of the names on that list. There was no verification. We didn't do any follow-up. That's a senior finance official under oath. Remember when Chrystia Freeland told the media the RCMP only gave institutions the name of leaders and organizers? Well, records now show it went to Canadian arms of foreign banks too, like the Bank of China, the State Bank of India, Citibank, Wells Fargo, and a list of others. The Federal Court of Appeal already ruled that the use of the Emergencies Act was unreasonable and that those financial freezes violated charter rights. Yet the blacklist still got passed around like a Christmas card list to thousands of firms, with no public accounting of what happened to the people whose private information was handed out, and with no clear answers on how many copies are out there still floating around. This is just more evidence that when the government decides you are the enemy, your financial life and your privacy become fair game. But this obviously wasn't about safety or terrorism. This was about power and about sending a message that if you dare challenge the narrative and step out of line, the government can and will freeze your accounts and share your private information far and wide. The court's already said that
and put you in an iron cage. You know, guilty until proven innocent. And you know, what's so interesting, Ransom, watching that is the clowns that were in power that supposedly we had to listen to, they're all gone. Like that girl, what was her name? And then that Castro guy in the background, they're all gone. So you see the stage actors come in and then they go out. I saw the one long-faced girl down in New Zealand also. She's gone, but they pulled a bunch of things back talking about how many people were affected down there. Like these stage actors came in, they were paid handsomely. This is a career-ending thing. We're going to give you whatever, X tens of millions. You're going to come in and do it. And exit stage left. Because look, none of them are around. Zero. None of them are. Where are they? They were controllers of the power and the world and the 6 feet apart and all that. And then they're nowhere to be found now. You can't find them.
Yeah, they knew that they weren't going to be able to continue, but all of their little programs and stuff that they put forward, that's all snuck back. And a lot of people think that, it's over because they pulled it back. No, they didn't. They kept those powers. And that stuff that he was talking about, those lists, you can bet that the same thing happened in America, because all of those same financial institutions are the ones that you would be dealing with here in the United States. So there's obviously other lists. Imagine those J6ers and the different things go on and on. Maybe you were a vocal against the environment or for the environment or against the people that are saying something. There's all these lists, and now you can see where the social credit score is really going to hit people, where you're going to be either allowed to take part in commerce or not. You're going to be allowed to travel or not. And this is already China. I mean, that's the same thing. And you notice that the Bank of China was one of those destinations of those lists and private information about people that went against the narrative or the authority.
Yeah, because I always look back in the, say, 1500s, like the British only had a few hundred people stationed in a colony or around part of a continent. So I was always shocked, like, how are they not able to steamroll the British out of there and get them all out? And then it's like, hey, this is our land now. And anybody that comes back in to try, and I understand they had warships, but if they landed warships, then the guerrilla tactics take over again and tit for tat. And, I was always wondering about the judge and judicial system back in the British Empire as well. Oh, you're guilty. No, I'm not. You're guilty. Whatever. It's just like that. Guilty until proven innocent. That's not the way we do it here. And, that should be a warning for all. I would say, Pirate Chain and Monero. You got something that can't be really tracked in Zcash. That's why they're so against all these different, what is it, anonymity coins, but coins that allow you privacy. There's been a war on privacy coins forever. Originally, back in 2017, there was a war on anonymity coins, and every project died, like 100% died. So they had to revamp over anonymity, where you can still see part of the transaction on the blockchain. It wasn't completely obfuscated and non-visible. So they at least had to leave part of it open and visible, but like the receiver address, sender address, it didn't connect. It instantly flipped to something else when it went to the next place, right? So they couldn't really track back because there was no direct connection. That's privacy. It's not anonymity. Anonymity is you get zero information and anybody sending it. They squashed that so fast in 2017 and 18. So what kind of world are we living in here is the question, Ransom. Let me do one last thing here for us. I was looking at the crop yields, and please agree or disagree. Roll with me, crop yield fans here. So it's the crop tours. Pro Farmer, they go out every year and they send real humans with eyeballs out there instead of estimating stuff. And they go state by state. Now they haven't gone wheat yet. So wheat is going to be the absolute killer. They're waiting to the very end to try to do wheat. So somewhere around the end of September, you're going to watch the wheat price just go astronomical, especially if Russia can't get anything out. And then we're down like 30, 40, 50% in America. You never see anything like it. They're going to have to do rationing on wheat. So here we are. The average corn yield bushels per acre was 184 in 2026. Previously, it was 199. So that's almost 8% decline. And soybeans also taking a hit. So you got to think about, these are the two most widely grown crops. So for them to get that big of a hit, it's not like you're growing a couple hundred acres of sorghum and like a loss takes it down 50%. This is the most widely grown crop in America, king corn. Everybody grows it. It's every state. It's everywhere. And it's down 7% in the biggest corn growing region. That should be saying something. And these guys are going around in the pickups and they're, okay. And then we got Indiana right here. 2026, 183 bushels. And last year was 193, which takes us down 5.3% on the averages. And then soybeans are down about 4.2%. So we're starting to see this across all the states, right? And then we go to Nebraska, corn huskers, 8.5 or 8.8%, down from 179 bushels last year to 163. Corn huskers. Now, what's going on with this? 8.8%. These are the largest growing areas too. Ohio, last year 185, 180 this year, only 3%. They're looking at the back, but their soybeans is down almost 7%, off of 1287 to 1197. South Dakota, 14% down on the far left over there. Hope you can see that.
Yeah.
But these are the numbers that we're looking at with corn and soy, the most widely grown crop. So when I'm just going to say, you know, what's going to happen. That was North Dakota. So here's South Dakota. Was that South Dakota in the slide? Oh yeah, it was both South Dakota. Here's a little bit wider. So again, this is a wheat state. South Dakota, North Dakota, wheat states. So if they're this bad on corn and 20% down on beans, just like a common sense question, what do you think is going to happen to our wheat in North and South Dakota? Which would extend all the way up through Saskatchewan and Alberta, way up into Canada. So these are the things that are coming out right now. And what do we got here? Oh, Iowa, another big corn state, only down 2.5 or 2.2%. Beans are down 1.15. So, you know, you get some not as great losses, but you still get a lot of losses. Okay, Minnesota, this is a goodie. Wheat up here too. 1.9% on the corn and just not even 1% on the wheat. So that had some better conditions up there. Must be something with the jet stream flowing. And let's see, we got Iowa here. They did have them all in a list, but they removed that list as of yesterday. They were all in like one feed. There was like 15 slides. They took it away. I don't know why. Now you got to scroll through it one by one. So anyway, that's, oh wait, one last one here. Oh, there's Ohio. Yeah, it's only 2.9. So I'll stop sharing. They're kind of getting redundant. They're on day 3 of the crop tour. Day 3. So what's going to happen from there? And also just, you know, getting toward the end of the hour, buymeacoffee.com/civilization cycle. Someone bought us 3 double espressos. Thank you so much for the 3 double espressos. And then another 3 double espressos. Oh, the genie is dancing in the bottle. Thank you so much. And Geraldine McGinnis buying us 3 double espressos. And Orly Artworks bought 3 double espressos. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kind of us or you for our show here. Us. Alison Bavash, double espresso. Bam. Going to keep me and Ransom up like till 4, 5, 6 a.m. tomorrow, maybe the next day even. Someone rock on. All right. Thanks for trying our best. Thank you both for all the research you do. That's Homestead Nurse. 5 double espressos. Thank you so much. Someone kicking us back another 3. Gayla Denise Tregre, double espresso. Love your videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Varda Start Mail. Thank you. 3 double espressos. I appreciate your content. Well, I appreciate you being here. Ransom is going to give you a what up. Thank you. And
right. You know, I was just thinking, well, with all those super chats, I'll just play the, you know, somebody said something about it. I'll play the countdown at the end of the show instead of at the beginning for those that are watching now. Then they can hear the music.
Gonna give me stress. I gotta end up right at the last second. Let's see how close we can get, Ransom.
Let's see here.
This is a test. Like when you're on a program like Mike Adams, for example, at the Health Ranger, or Flyover Conservatives podcast, everybody's on a schedule, you know, and you're down to the minute, like 3, 2, 1. Oh, then Coast to Coast AM. I was on a couple of their shows. They're down to like, you know, shout me out. I got 1 minute left. Okay. And then boom.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of shows, if you're going to do it like on a real bigger stages, they got their advertisers in on the breaks. You're down to like a certain segment of 10 minutes max, and you need to wire that down. You can't be rolling over. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, they're saying in Illinois, there 2,500 workers lost their jobs. 5 states at a loss. A lot of people are mad.
That was
in
a
Illinois.
slaughterhouse, I do believe.
Yeah, right. It says there's a lot of local butchers here that are taking up small scale processing.
Nice to get it to the local community. Have them do their thing, man. That's awesome that the local community can step up where the bigs leave. Love it. Love it. Go see your local butcher.
Somebody says $15 of gas in LA. For real? Oh, in November. I got you.
Now, is that petrol gas or is that diesel?
I imagine they're probably just talking about regular gas there, but I don't think it'll go to 15 by November. Maybe 10.
I've seen some 7, 8 calls, but not like 15. Diesel 15, yes, everywhere.
Right.
12, 15 diesel, just that's the norm.
Yeah,
Thank you for the comment.
That's crazy. Any questions?
Swim off the beach here for you.
Yeah, it says Colorado
we'll get a
diesel
coconut when we're done with the show.
559.
Colorado diesel 559. That's what a lot of farmers are reporting delivery out to their farms on like a 200 or 500 gallon purchase. I saw some farm videos yesterday, and they were all reporting pretty much the same price, 559 out on the farms. Yeah, I did. I checked out Ice Age Farmer, and he was talking about the cost of farm inputs went up tremendously.
Yeah.
You know, hundreds of billions of dollars, which I think it was like $250,000 or $270,000 average operating cost for a farm that wants to put in like grains. That's insane. That's operating. That's not the machine. That's just to get the seed, fertilizer.
So why are they
diesel?
Why are they shooting the donkeys?
Yeah, I know. Well, they're saying that they're a problem. They're not a native species. But other groups are saying the donkeys are actually taken care of where the wild species would have been. So they're reducing forest fires out there by leaving the donkeys. But the government's like, we got to take away the donkeys. Well, then there's going to be more brush fires. I mean, it's a super easy equation. So dissect this one for me, Ransom. Why would we take away all the brush clearing animals out of there?
I don't know. Maybe you like a lot of, wildfires. And it is bizarre that, they're making kind of the same argument over here with the horses. It says under Trump, protected wild horses are going to be now slaughtered. And any argument that they're not native species, I might have you look into the origin of species. The horses actually evolved here in North America, and we're here first and didn't go extinct until the end of the Hunger Dryas. So they were here all the way until then.
Yeah, and then they were redomesticated. So you're telling me a saber-toothed tiger is not a domestic animal? Of course it wasn't the Pleistocene, right?
It's $10 in LA now, they said.
Oh, wow.
$4.29 in my area right now for diesel. It's $5.
That's lower than the national average. That's perfect. So buy a little extra. Maybe if you need a diesel tank, get a 5 gallon and fill it up. Going to save.
Yeah, what is with the government always wanting to go in and kill a bunch of animals that doesn't need it, like the squirrel and the raccoon, and you could go on and on. Don't make videos with your pets; they might come get them.
Yeah, we have to wonder what lunar events are happening, what planets are in alignment, what kind of energies are flowing through the solar system that they take advantage of to harness these energies. And anyway, thank you so much. Coming down to the last minute here. David Devine, Ransom Godwin. If you like this kind of content, share with friends and family, sign up for the newsletter, hit over to the Civilization Cycle podcast YouTube channel, resubscribe over there, and blast us out to your friends and family. We all need to be in this discussion together. We got the links below of sponsors we trust and love that can enhance your life. And it's better if it's a win-win-win for everybody, because as we're moving down, seems like a lot of people are taking advantage, but we want to give the best products that give the most benefit. And if we've already tried them and we made our short list, then hey, that's exactly what we need to share together. Good information on storing and supplements. And that's it. We'll see you next time, next week. Bye for now. 5 seconds over.
Miss my favorite song on the radio. Nothing but news, sounds like a shit show. There are people that are running from the choppers that are gunning. There are people that are choking from the homes that are smoking. We can see the children crying, we can hear the sniper firing. But how the hell am I supposed to care? I got my own damn problems and life ain't fair. Work starts early and the bills keep piling up. So how the hell am I supposed to give a buck? They say the families were hungry and scared, but it was a bunch of dudes with full beards. Welcome your new neighbors, they just ran from the war. They busted out windows and called women whores. But how the hell am I supposed to care? I got my own damn problems and life ain't fair. Work starts early and the bills keep piling up. So how the hell am I supposed to give a buck? Turn the damn thing off, can't listen anymore. Just another headline about some distant shore. My truck needs new tires, the rent is overdue, and they want my empathy, but what am I to do? Pour another coffee, try to numb the sound, while another world is burning to the ground. Maybe I'm the monster, maybe I'm just numb, watching all this chaos, waiting for what's to come. Oh, I don't know. Just trying to get by, just trying to survive. Is there any piece of my own soul still left alive? But how the hell am I supposed to care? I got my own damn problems and life ain't fair. Work starts early and the bills keep piling up. So how the hell am I supposed to give a buck? Turn the damn thing off, can't listen anymore. Just another headline about some distant shore. How the hell am I supposed to got my own damn problems? Life ain't fair, bills keep piling up. How am I supposed to give up? Turn the damn thing off, can't listen anymore. Just another headline about some distant shore. Maybe I'm the monster, maybe I'm just numb, watching all this chaos, waiting for what's to come. Oh, I don't know. Just trying to get by, just trying to survive. Is there any piece of my own soul still left alive? But how the hell am I supposed to care? I got my own damn problems and life ain't fair. Work starts early and the bills keep piling up. So how the hell am I supposed to give a buck?
Please remember to sign up for our show notes. With Civilization Cycle podcast, you can learn what to expect as society resets. Agriculture, economy, tech, and history all have mappable cycles, and these cycles affect every aspect of our lives. We can navigate the chaos and thrive together with up-to-date news and information. Also, if you like the content we have here on Civilization Cycle, think about fueling the discussions and the show by buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Civilization Cycle. And thank you for all the support.
Innovation through nature, Illuminated Digest balances and supports full, healthy gut microbiome, intestinal wall integrity, and normalizes blood viscosity. Because we hear an enormous amount about people having gut issues and digestive issues. I don't know if it's the modern diet or what's been used in the agricultural process, but that gut biome is so important to our brain fog that we get and how much energy we have. And a lot of times if you got a lot of bad breath, it's because you got the wrong kind of bacteria that have overtaken the good bacteria in your stomach. It's time to rebalance that back out, especially right now when we might need to be changing our food choices because of all the disruptions that we're seeing across the planet agriculturally. Illuminated Digest, proprietary probiotic blends, enzymes, herbs, and fulvic minerals. Try Illuminated Digest and see how good you feel when your gut biome is in balance. I love the products at Alpha Vedic. You support them, they support us. It's a win-win-win for everybody. And see how much more energy you have after trying Illuminated Digest. That link's in the description box below. Feeling the heat, the exhaustion, the withering, being out in the heat. The summer returns once again. Time to rehydrate. We got hydration that works as hard as you do. Perform Light, got sodium, potassium, magnesium, superfood recovery blend, vitamin C. And as Victory Nutrition International would say, recharge, replenish, recover faster. And if you want to support this channel, support our advertisers. Fatigue-free summer, stay hydrated, Perform Light. Click on that link in the description box below.